Guilty is like Stephen Knight's Lock, which starred Tom Hardy, a claustrophobic experience where you're confined to one location and the only communication with the outside world is by phone. But at least potentially disgraced police officer Asger Horn, Jakob Cedergren, has at his disposal the resources of Denmark's police system. He's been assigned desk duties in the alarm dispatch unit, pending his court appearance for alleged misconduct the next day.
Chef, du er heldigvis tilbage på gaden efter i morgen. Det er jo dejligt.
Det ringer.
When he flicks off obvious crank callers, he becomes transfixed by a call from a woman, voiced by Jessica Dinnock, who pretends she's talking to her kids, but is seemingly being abducted by her husband. And as things proceed, they only get worse. How do you draw the line between law enforcement and getting a situation resolved? How do you manage an ever-changing situation honourably? Do you in fact cross a couple of lines to deal with the urgency of the situation? These are all questions asked in this film. It's a debut feature from Gustav Moller, who co-wrote the screenplay with Emil Neergaard Albertsen, and like many first-time filmmakers, he's been clever about how he's constructed a first-rate thriller on limited resources, with Jasper J. Spanning's cinematography really adding enormously to its effectiveness. It's a splendid performance from Jakob Cedergren. We're experiencing the film through his eyes and ears, and we're with him every minute. I was really impressed by The Guilty. No wonder it made the shortlist for the Oscars.
Yes, it is very impressive, this film, on so many levels, because we're never quite sure who is the guilty person, you know, who's actually guilty and what they're actually guilty of. And it's also about, I think, about how we rush to make judgments, you know, instantly make judgments that maybe turn out to be not totally correct or maybe are a bit sort of skewed. That's quite clever too, because he makes these instant decisions about what he's to do, but they turn out to be maybe not the most appropriate way to go.
Hvad der sket med Mathilde?
As an actor, I was fascinated by this because, and by Locke as well, because I'm always very aware of how actors and directors might create something like this. Does the actor actually have to learn the film? Not really, because it's all on a screen in front of him. And he's got a director on the phone telling him how to act. You know, that's how they actually do it. I think that's absolutely fabulous.
Oh, don't ruin it for people.
No, that's how this is the mechanics. This is how externalising the mechanics. I think that's interesting for people. No, that's you can sort of kind of tell. But it's just beautifully done. And as you say, the cinematography is terrific, beautifully controlled in one room, and then there's an ante-room that's used a bit later on.
I mean, it's a very confined space. But you see, the other interesting thing about it is it's his moral journey too. And, you know, the fact that he does end up having to question himself and his decisions that actually will also impact on potentially his future as a cop.
Well, that's right, because he's involved in a case that's being investigated in a court action the next day where his judgment has been called into question as well. So it is really a film about the nature of moral judgment, isn't it, in so many ways.
It's just one of those small, taut, terrific European films. And I would give it 4 stars.
I'd give it 4 as well. I was very impressed with this.
Kør efter.
Han blikker af. Han er ved at køre motorvejen. Han må se dig.
Jeg talte en 6-årig pige, der sidder alene hjemme. Jeg har lovet hende, at hendes mor kommer hjem.
Så stopper du.